Hi, I'm John Cena. Hit the like button if you think that AEW exposed FTR as a boring tag team all along.
Let's be honest, when it comes to All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling, it's only around because they wanted to spite Vince McMahon. Now that Vince McMahon is gone, All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling has been exposed. As a company that was never that good in the first place, it's just people hated the World Wrestling Federation and Vince McMahon's booking. Now that he's gone, now you see All Elite Wrestling was never that good in the first place. Now, let's talk about FTR, because I will put them on that list. The only reason those guys had a fan base was because people want to see them succeed without Vince McMahon's vision. Listen, they are only good for beefing with the Young Bucks. If they are not in a beef with the Bucks, they are boring and useless. Let that sink in. For the past 4 years, how come nobody brings this up? FTR, they are boring without the Young Bucks. That is embarrassing. It took you 4 years to fucking notice? These two guys are boring as shit without the Bucks. If they are not in a feud with the Bucks, nobody cares about what they are doing. But I feel like All Elite Wrestling has lied to us. This tag team division has been shit for the past 4 years. Now, the Bucks told us they were trying to bring back tag team fake pro wrestling. They were trying to put it over. They were trying to convince us that tag team wrestling draws. Well, bitch, you guys have failed in that promise. Yes, tag team wrestling does not draw. It was what, maybe year one? The Bucks were trying to convince us that tag team fake pro wrestling draws, and that tag team fake pro wrestling should be in the main event. Well, you guys have really shied away from that notion, because ever since year one, I feel like the All Elite Wrestling tag team division has been shit. I would argue, I think that the World Wrestling Federation, their tag team division is way better. Wow. But I feel like it was always better, right? It was always better. It's just you numbskulls hated Vince McMahon, but I'm saying that, bruh, the All Elite Wrestling tag team division is boring and it's shit. When was the last time the Bucks actually defended those tag team titles? They rarely do, and honestly, they rarely show up. These two guys were trying to tell us that All Elite Wrestling had the best tag team division. What happened? Huh? What happened, bruh? Because now, I'm seeing a shit boring division. Nobody cares about the Acclaimed. Nobody cares about Bowen and Max Caster. Those guys have really fell off. Let's talk about the Lucha Bros. Those guys are gone. Those guys will be in the World Wrestling Federation very, very soon. So what else do you have? Bruh, it feels like FTR is only around to feud with the Young Bucks. That's it. They are only good for feuding with the Young Bucks. If they are not, nobody cares about them. That is wild. Hell, they got their names from the Bucks. So their whole entire existence is thanks to the Bucks. The only reason that FTR came to All Elite Wrestling was to wrestle the Bucks and to prove Vince McMahon wrong. Okay, well, he's gone now, bitch. Vince McMahon is gone. So what else are you good for? Now, you two guys have been exposed as boring guys. Because now, there's no more Boogeyman. There's no more Vince McMahon now, bitch. Now, Triple H is the good guy in this scenario. So now, you guys look like turncoats, right? You guys look like turncoats. Because now, bruh, nobody cares about FTR on Rampage, Dynamite. Nobody gives two shits. Because now, people have realized these guys are boring without CM Junk, right? So my whole entire point is, I feel like FTR has also been exposed, because if these guys are not wrestling the Bucks, nobody cares about them. And the tag team division is shit. And I'm glad. I'm glad, because FTR were the main ones telling you that Vince McMahon don't believe in tag team fake pro wrestling. Those two guys were the main guys telling us that Vince McMahon told them that tag team fake pro wrestling don't draw shit. Well, that aged great. That's facts. Vince McMahon is a fucking genius. Do not talk back to Vince McMahon's genius. He told you. Tag team fake pro wrestling don't draw shit, you stupid dumb bitch. Nobody cares about tag team fake pro wrestling. If so, how come Tony Khan Man don't give two shits about his current tag team division? What about Private Party? They are back to being job guys. I thought this was the year of Private Party. Damn, I forgot to add them to my list. Those two guys will be great in NXT. I guarantee it. I feel like they would be the new fucking MSK. That is facts. If Private Party was in NXT, they would be the new MSK. And you saw how Shawn Michaels and Triple H, they pushed MSK to the fucking moon. Just imagine Private Party. Man, they are in the wrong company. But I thought Private Party was going to have a bounce back year. Hell, that tag team division is dead. It's fucking dead. The Bucks are never on TV doing anything. Nobody cares about Bowens and Max Caster. Nobody cares about Penta and fucking Ray Phoenix. This tag team division is dead. Hell, SmackDown has a better entertaining division. At least the Bloodline are the tag team champions. So those belts are now elevated to the main event scene. That's called storytelling, you dumb bitch. Man, I feel like the Bucks have really torn down those tag team titles. And that is very ironic. The same two guys that were trying to tell you that All Elite Wrestling had the best tag team wrestling. Well, that did not age well. Now did it? Because, bruh, nobody cares about this tag team division on fucking Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, etc. Let's be honest. FTR, they have fell off the moment CM Punk got fired. People have realized, yeah, these two guys just are boring. They are all about the work rate. What is the difference between FTR and the Revival? Like I said, these two guys are only good for wrestling the Bucks. If they are not wrestling the Bucks, nobody cares about FTR. And that's sad. But this puts over Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon tried to warn you people years ago, but you told him he was out of touch. How? Okay, by your logic, the moment Vince McMahon left on a permanent basis, can you say that the tag team division in the World Wrestling Federation has improved? No. Has the tag team division in All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling, has that improved? No. So yes, Vince McMahon was right, you stupid dumb bitch. Nobody cares about tag team wrestling. Nobody cares about fucking seeing tag team wrestling in the main events, okay? That's my motherfucking point. Because it looks like Con Man, he is turning into Vince McMahon Jr. He also gives two shits about tag team fake pro wrestling. Now, am I a fan of tag team fake pro wrestling? Yes. My all-time favorite tag team is the New Age Outlaws. But overall, no, I don't think that tag team wrestling should be in the main event scene. Now, I'm not saying that the tag team titles is a mid-card belt. No, hell no. Listen, whoever holds the belt, it's up to them to elevate that belt. It's up to them to make the tag team titles a main event title. Look at the Bloodline. Look at the Usos. They made those belts a main event title. But the moment those belts went to fucking DIY, they turned into mid-card belts. So my point is, the belt don't make the man makes the belt. The man puts over the belt. It's up to the tag team to make those belts main event caliber. For example, the motherfucking Power Trip. Remember? Triple H, Stone Cold. Were those guys mid-carders? No. They turned those belts into tag team main event belts. So the tag team titles are not mid-card belts or main event belts. It's up to the talent to put those belts over, either in the mid-card or as a main event belt. It's up to the talent itself. The belts don't make you matter. You gotta make the belts matter. That's how every tag team should do it. That's how every tag team should elevate any tag team titles. It's up to you to make those belts higher than what they really were. But overall, what do I grade FTR's run in All Elite Tag Pro Wrestling? Right now, I would give them a C+. Based on, okay, what have they done any different than their run in the World Wrestling Federation? What is the difference between FTR and the motherfucking Revival? Nothing. What is the difference? All I'm seeing is stop and start pushes. Dude, let that sink in. These two guys were crying about their spot on Raw, SmackDown, etc. Crying about Vince McMahon this, Vince McMahon that. He wanted us to wear dumb outfits. I'm like, man, fuck you. But my whole entire point is, what have they done? All I'm seeing is stop and start pushes, and those guys are buried on Collision, right? Those guys are mainstays on Collision, but not on Dynamite. Bruh, these two guys tag teamed with Orange Cassidy. Wow, let that sink in. They were tag team partners with Orange Cassidy, I think last week. Holy shit. So these two guys have really fell off from grace, and they deserved it, okay? They deserve it. Now, let's go by their timeline in All Elite Wrestling. The first time we saw them, they were in a program with the Young Bucks. That's the first time we saw them. Like I said, the only time FTR matters is when they are in a feud with the Young Bucks. And that's sad, right? That's the only time these two guys matter, and that's embarrassing. So by that said logic, how can you say these guys are better off in All Elite Wrestling if the only time we care about them is when they are fighting the Bucks? But how many times are these two tag teams going to wrestle? So these guys got a rematch at All In. Another back-to-back rematch. They faced off last year, and now they are going to face off this year for the tag team titles. Okay, that means you have no division, because you gotta go back to that goddamn cookie jar. You gotta go back to that old-ass rivalry, the Bucks, FTR. But how many times can they wrestle? This is old now, okay? We are over this feud. This is a low-key, poor man's version of the Usos versus the New Day. But this is a very low-budget, boring version of the Usos versus the New Day. But I will give the Bucks this credit. At least the Bucks have evolved since day one of All Elite Wrestling. When it comes to FTR, they are still the same boring-ass tag team from the 1980s. That's facts. They are still the same boring-ass tag team from the 1980s. At least the Bucks have evolved at least 4 times. Maybe 2 or 3 times. Those two guys have evolved their characters. I'm saying the same shit when they were in the Pinnacle with Max. They were still the same boring-ass tag team from the 1980s. When they were paired up with CM Junk, they were still the same boring-ass tag team from the 1980s. And I hate their promos. My God. I hate the promos of FTR. It's the definition of pandering. Pandering promos. It's the same rah-rah-rah speech promos. And I hate those promos. Those rah-rah-rah, let's go, guys. That kind of promo, man, I've been busting my ass since day one on the indies. I deserve my shot. I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up about these rah-rah speeches, these rah-rah promos. Nobody cares, man. Take that shit back to the motherfucking 1980s, man. Fuck. Now, who's better, the Bucks or FTR? Bruh, ever since day one of All Elite Wrestling, I've always felt that the Bucks were always better than FTR. Why? At least those two guys have evolved their characters. They are not the same Bucks from day one. FTR are the same tag team from NXT. That's sad. Why don't you bring this up? FTR are the same tag team from NXT. That was years ago, man. Fuck. So, my whole entire point of this whole entire conversation, FTR are the definition of overrated. They were never that good. They were a work rate tag team. Do I think they were better than the Briscoes? Hell no. So yes, a overrated tag team, and I'm done.